Hey there, everyone. So I thought I would do an update on the Hungry Bin. So I've had the Hungry Bin for over a year now, and to kind of give you a recap of how I started it, started with about 2,000 worms, filled up the bin with cocoa coir and cardboard, shredded cardboard, and then of course some scraps. It's been going pretty well. Uh, Generally feed it these days about a gallon sized bag of kitchen scraps, carrot tops, onion peels, orange peels, um, fruits and vegetables primarily, along with additional cardboard or brown paper, things like that. And they've been doing that fairly consistently as of late, as the population grew, as things got as they got more acclimated to the environment. So let me first take you on a quick tour, and then I will point out two things about the bin. So first, as you can see, I have the top layer full of other scraps, or sorry, other bedding material. I'm going to go over on this side just to kind of show you what it looks like underneath. It is a little wetter recently because we had some rain, but we should be able to see a good healthy bin, or at least that's what it looks like to me, with all these worms here and all the scraps that we have. So I did feed on the other side. I do feed one side at a time. So there should be probably more on the other side over there after the recent feeding. So let's start with the first thing, the construction. This thing's been super sturdy. As you can see, even from the outside, other than maybe some dirt, if I cleaned it up a bit, it pretty much looked brand new. It's been really sturdy. I've actually moved it a few times just to kind of figure out where I want it in the yard, and so far it's been pretty good. There are, however, I did notice some white marks on this side only. It could be, I'm not sure, but it could be some stress marks, maybe during the move. I'll be quite honest, I don't know when they occurred, but they are only on that one side. So all other sides do not have them. And those markings do line up with the underside. I don't know if you can see those little support pieces underneath. So it does line up there. I'm not worried about it right now. When I touch it, it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart or anything. And I don't move it too often now that I've kind of figured out where I want it to be. So overall, construction's been fairly solid, and I'm not worried about too much. That's the only thing that I've seen that could have been of any concern. And of course, I'll report back if I see anything else. The other area, though, I do think that they could improve on is actually the wheels. So the wheels are attached via these clamps, and they clamp together via the screws right here, the screws and the bolts. And it's just clamped to this pole right here. And so I noticed that it was fine in the beginning when it was mostly an empty bin, but when it got full, or at least more full, there was quite a bit more weight, and these tend to slip, at least for me. I tried tightening them, but they just keep slipping just a little bit, especially in the initial shift to try and get them onto those wheels. Does it work? It still works. It can be annoying sometimes. So I think that's something that they could maybe improve upon there. But otherwise, been really happy. Super solid. Haven't had any issues with pests or rodents. We do have rats and raccoons and other critters in the area, and I've never had a problem. So still super happy with it. The next thing I want to mention is that the Hungry Bin is truly the perfect name for this system. I started I mentioned earlier with coco coir and cardboard, I only filled it about halfway, which is not what is recommended. What I should have done is actually fill it up 3/4 of the way, which is what you're supposed to do. One, that gives it more material for the worms to kind of have a habitat into. It definitely helps in more extreme weathers too, so they have a place to stay warm or cool depending on which extreme. It's also a good idea so that you don't harvest until you have 3/4 of the way filled with castings. And so I think I'm there right now, and I went from half all the way to 3/4 in over a year, and I've never harvested this thing. This thing just completely churns through all of the scraps that I really give it, and I generally don't have to worry about um, running out of space so far. So I'll definitely do an initial harvest maybe in the springtime, since that's when I'll need the castings, and see how it goes from there. From the instructions, it does say I could have harvested between the first 2 to 4 months. Obviously, I'm way past that, but my initial gut feeling tells me that that might have been a little early, but we'll see. Another thing that I will definitely test later on is once I do my first harvest, how often can I harvest again? Because you want to make sure you're back in that 3/4 of the way full. Hopefully, my population has grown now, right? So that I can feed it more scraps going forward and then kind of grow that a bit faster. So those are the two main things I wanted to mention. Overall, still super happy with this compost bin. Uh, it's really handling what I'm looking for, which is going through all my kitchen scraps, going through all that, and hopefully getting some compost that I can then leverage for the rest of the garden. Hope this helps everyone. I'll definitely keep you posted as I learn more about this. Thanks.